I'm not afraid. Bull. I'm not. Then go in. Chicken. Go ahead, Lonnie. Go in.
Hey. Hey, Lonnie. Get your ass away from there.
Hello and welcome back, and in case you haven't already noticed, this is a special Halloween episode of Part Time.
Very Halloweeny.
Very Halloweeny, and my name is Judd.
I'm Ryan, and this is Captain Clark.
Captain Clark. Not to be confused with Captain Kronos, of which you've seen in the last Part Time episode. We know you watched it.
If you didn't watch it, go back and watch it.
Yeah.
Good movie.
But for today's special Halloween episode, we of course are reviewing. We're really loving you guys. Okay, so we're not reviewing just one movie. We're reviewing two: Halloween 1 and Halloween 2.
And they really complement each other well, so I think that's a good
Yeah.
reason to do both of them at the same time.
I mean, technically they take place on the same night. So
here's a synopsis of both films.
Halloween and Halloween 2 are two of the most popular slasher films ever produced. Halloween debuted in 1978 and was directed by John Carpenter. In addition to directing, Carpenter also co-wrote Halloween with Deborah Hill. Halloween stars Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie Strode, Donald Pleasance as Dr. Loomis, Nancy Keys as Annie Brackett, PJ Souls as Linda Vanderklok, and Nick Castle as The Shape. In Halloween, a young Michael Myers kills his older sister Judith and is sent to a mental hospital for 15 years. When Dr. Loomis tries to transport Michael to a court hearing, Myers escapes and returns to his home in the town of Haddonfield, Illinois, where he stalks and kills several unsuspecting teenagers. Halloween 2, released in 1981, written once again by Carpenter and Hill, takes place immediately after the first film and follows the lone survivor Laurie Strode as she is rushed to the hospital following her attack by Myers. Myers, still alive, follows Laurie Strode to finish what he'd started that Halloween night. Dr. Loomis, still knowing that Michael Myers is still on the loose, continues his search for their murderous psychopath.
And we're back. So, if you have not seen Halloween before, or Halloween 2, surely you've at least heard of the films and know of Michael Myers. He's been around for a while, arguably the birth of the slasher genre.
Yes, it's very, very much laid the groundwork for many other films to follow. So, but yeah, Michael Myers is a very, very famous villain. He kind of really got the ball rolling for the invincible killer type thing.
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, you've at least seen other movies that have some sort of invincible killer in it, and he's really the grandfather.
I know he predates Jason and Freddy. I don't know about Leatherface.
Actually, Leatherface he doesn't. Leatherface was in the earlier 70s, but Leatherface never got attacked on the level that Michael Myers. I mean, Michael Myers gets shot and
Yeah, that's true.
like all sorts of stuff, and he still keeps coming. Leatherface, to my knowledge, he might get damaged a little bit, but he's not like a invincible killer. So, but yeah, Halloween. It's by John Carpenter and Deborah Hill, and starts off with a, let's see, it's Michael Myers as a kid. We don't know that.
Yeah.
We don't know he's Michael Myers.
Yes.
His name.
But he's 6 years old.
He's 6 years old, which that opens up to a bit of a discrepancy later on. We'll get into. And he's 6 years old, and he sees his sister making out with her boyfriend, and they go upstairs to have sex. Michael Myers, by the way, is outside. He's kind of peeking in the living room.
Now, we say they go upstairs to have sex. I don't think they did, because Michael Myers goes in the back of the house, gets a knife out of the drawer, and when he comes back in the living room, the boyfriend's coming downstairs fully dressed and leaves.
He's putting a shirt back on, which they're trying to allude to it, but
there is no way in that amount of time. I just don't see it.
I mean, he could have been
It was not even a minute long.
Well, he could have not even been a minute man. I don't know.
It's kind of
they want us to believe that
it's basically supposed to have been that's what happened.
Sex scene. But you're right; it should have been just a little bit longer. But for the sake of the pacing of the movie, So he's coming. He gets little Michael Myers. He gets the butcher knife, and he comes up through, comes around the stairs, and he's seeing the boyfriend leave. He's putting his shirt on. And he runs out of the house. So Michael Myers goes up the stairs. He sees the little mask. He puts a little clown mask on, and he goes in his sister's room, who still has her shirt off. So she's like flopping her jubblies all over. Well, I say flopping her jubblies, but like she's basically combing her hair, but she's just. You know.
She turns and sees her brother, and she's like, Michael.
She's like, Michael.
She covers herself, and then Michael has a knife, and he kills her. Yeah. Now, he's 6 years old. She could easily overpower him, and she sees him before he ever stabs her. It's unbelievable to me.
Well,
but,
yeah, I mean.
But at the same time, I mean, it just sets up the movie, so you just got to go with it. And, I mean, there's a lot of things I found that I never thought about to critique about these movies when we watched them just now. I still love Halloween and Halloween 2.
Yeah, Halloween is not just my favorite horror movie. This is one of my favorite movies, period. So I just wanted to get that out of the way before we get headlong into this interview. But yeah, this is hands down my favorite horror movie of all time. But it is probably my top 3 favorite films ever. But anyways, I wanted to mention something about, like, I grew up with 2 sisters. I mean, I'm their older brother, but like I don't ever remember at any point my sisters just walking around topless.
Yeah, that's not realistic.
I mean, like Judy Myers was. It would be one thing if her door was closed and she was topless, but like her door was open, and when she saw Michael, she was like, Michael, I mean. Maybe I grew up in a different household where women just didn't walk around nude. I don't know.
It's not normal.
Okay, I just wanted to get that out of the way.
Anyway, so then we go forward to 1978, October 30th. Michael Myers breaks out of the Institute.
15 years later.
This is 15 years later. Breaks out of the Institute that he's in. And he steals Dr. Loomis, the car that Dr. Loomis and this smoking lady are in.
The nurse
there. And
they're going to transport Michael Myers to a different sanitarium.
Yes.
Loomis doesn't want to do it, but he says he's doing it because it's the law. But he wants Michael Myers to be put under a closer.
Yeah, he's wanted Michael Myers to be locked down a lot more, and they didn't listen to him. And when they get there, they see all these other crazy people that are just wandering around because they've gotten loose because of Michael Myers.
Yeah.
So anyway, he takes their car and drives off. Somehow he just knows how to drive. This is another thing that kind of is. Yeah, which you just got to kind of accept.
They do mention, but they don't ever sort of go into, because one guy's like, he's been locked up all these times. Sam, talking about Sam Loomis, he's like, he's been locked up. How does he know how to drive a car? And Sam was like, well, he was doing it really good last night. Perhaps somebody gave him lessons. That's pretty much all they say about it. But
yeah, so we don't know how he really learned. But anyway, he drives, and he goes back to his hometown. And Loomis proceeds to follow because he was Michael's doctor for 15 years.
Yeah.
15 years.
15 years.
And Michael was 6.
Michael was 6.
When,
he was 6 when he went in. So
when
15 years
so
later.
He's 21 years old.
Yeah.
And we know he's 21 years old because in the second movie, Loomis says that he is 21 years old.
Yes, he
so
does.
This is a real fact. The reason I bring this up is because in the credits, I'm going to go ahead and get to this. In the credits, there's a scene at the end of Halloween where you see Michael Myers' face, and they list that actor. And they have an actor listed as Michael Myers, age 6, who was the kid that was wearing the mask in the beginning of the movie. And then they have Michael Myers, age 23, listed. And it's the other guy. But Michael Myers isn't 23, he's 21, and he's listed that way. And the stock footage from the first movie is in the second movie, and they relist that same guy in it as Michael Myers, age 23.
Yeah.
Even though this movie says he's 21.
That's true.
So that was just a little discrepancy I found. It's not something that bothers me, really. It's just kind of funny. It's just kind of funny that they made that error.
Yeah. Especially when today, where they can go back into the credits and probably alter that CG-wise. I mean,
I don't think they need to. I think it's kind of funny, but it's an interesting little bit of trivia there if you have never noticed that before.
Yeah. Anywho, back to what do you call it? He gets Michael Myers drives back to Haddonfield, where he's from, back to his home.
And then we start to follow Laurie Strode.
That's what
I meant. I don't know why I said Stroud. Laurie Strode.
Laurie Strode and her friends, and they're pretty much, it's typical middle America. They do an excellent job, like as far as location and where they film. I mean, it looks like, you can go to towns all over America and find places like this. We live in Georgia, so I mean, I've seen places, street corners that look about like this. So I mean, that was filmed out in California, so it's like every place has this setup,
Yeah.
And I think really personalizes, a lot of what's going on, so people can relate, make it really easily relatable.
So Laurie Strode is going to drop a key off at this house for her father. He's a real estate agent.
Oh yeah, the old Myers house.
It's the old Myers house, and when she drops the key off, Michael Myers sees her from inside the house, and he proceeds to stalk her throughout the movie.
Yeah.
Now, those of you that know about Halloween, spoilers for those that don't, know that Laurie is Michael Myers' younger sister. This is not ever talked about in the first movie.
Never touched on in the first movie.
And so it may be possible that they didn't even. I'm not sure. I'd have to look it up. I don't know that was something they even thought about during the first movie,
I wouldn't
especially because it's 3 years earlier.
Yeah, I wouldn't imagine that they were ever planning on this being popular enough to make a sequel.
To do the sequel,
so
yeah.
it's
so
like they were just writing,
this, so.
just a one-time thing. So.
But in the sequel, they reveal that she is his younger sister.
And I do consider it canon because the sequel is written by John Carpenter and Deborah Hill.
Oh, definitely,
so,
I mean, she is, and it takes place directly after. It's a very good follow-up. But he starts following Laurie around, and Halloween night, Laurie's babysitting.
Little Tommy Doyle.
Yeah.
There's
other little things that happen in the movie. That, we don't really, but it's very straightforward, so we don't have to really go through too much. Like, there's a funny scene where Laurie and her friend, what's her friend's name?
Oh, I think this was crap.
Her dad's the sheriff.
Annie Brackett. Yeah.
Her dad's the sheriff, and Annie's driving, and they're smoking pot in the car, and the Halloween store, the costume shop's been broken into.
Yeah.
And there's an alarm going off.
It's like a hardware store, I think.
The police car there, hardware store. Okay, yeah. She sees the police car there, and her dad's there.
Yeah, she's like, "Oh, my dad!" No, and like you said, they're smoking pot in this car. So first of all, they don't have to pull over.
They can just keep going straight or go a different way. But she decides to pull up to where her dad is, and so she tells Laurie to get rid of the joint. They are smoking this pot in the car with the windows up.
Yeah.
And they roll the window down to talk to him, and he is a police officer. There is no way he did not smell the pot coming from this car. It's just
a little unbelievable.
He doesn't seem to notice at all. So that's just a little thing that was kind of funny. But yeah, so we lead up to Halloween night. Laurie is babysitting.
Yeah.
And her friend's babysitting across the street.
Yeah.
A little girl. And her friend's trying to get her boyfriend to come over.
Yeah, she's going to pick up her boyfriend Paul. So she takes the girl that she's babysitting. She's like, "Oh, if I can arrange it to where you can watch TV with Tommy Doyle, would you like to go over there?" And she's like, "Yeah." So she calls Laurie Strode up, and she's like, "Hey, can you watch?" I can't remember the little girl's name, but she takes the little girl over there, and she goes back over to get in the car to pick up her boyfriend, and little does she know, Michael Myers is right in the car behind her.
Yeah,
and he
strangles
strangles
her,
her.
yeah.
And then he starts to strangle her. Then it's just taking too long. I think it just cuts her throat.
Yeah.
So yeah, she gets, and he takes her back inside or something, and that's when Tommy is looking through the window, and he freaks out because he sees the boogeyman carrying her. And
then
what's her name?
Her two friends show up at the house because they were going to come over to the house.
Oh yeah, PJ Souls and her boyfriend. PJ Souls is Laurie's other friend, and she goes over to the house where Annie is, or where she thinks Annie is, and she calls up Laurie, and she's like, "Hey, Annie's not here." And
well, Annie is there. But
Annie is there.
Dead.
She's there. She's dead. But I think Laurie said, yeah, she went to go pick up Paul or whatever. So PJ Souls and her boyfriend are like, "Hey, nobody's here. Let's just have sex."
Now this is not their house. This is not their friend's house.
This is not the house of the kids they were babysitting. This is just the house that, like their friend is babysitting, who's no longer there.
Yeah.
And like,
so this is ridiculous. I mean, what they did is terrible. They did this.
Yeah.
So they do that upstairs in the bedroom. Michael Myers. She sends him to go get beers.
Yeah, which amazingly they knew because every grown up has beer in their house. So they didn't even check the fridge before. So
he goes to get beers, and Michael Myers catches him downstairs and chokes him up against the wall and stabs him with a knife, and it keeps him up off the ground. This knife, there's no way this knife kept him off the ground. I understand what they're going for with the scene.
Must have been a Ginsu knife, I guess.
But it's
sturdy workmanship.
But it's that's another kill for Michael. He doesn't kill he kills more people in the second movie.
Oh yeah,
than this first one.
The first one has a relatively low body count because you have
there's a lot more suspense in the first movie where you see a lot more Michael. We don't see a lot of him, but you're just waiting for something to happen. Yeah,
and like this uses much more like ambient noise to unsettle you because they'll play they'll play music during the stalking scenes, but like throughout the movie they'll play different types of like ambient noise to sort of unsettle the audience, which I think it works marvelously. And very few movies I see use music to that effectiveness. It Follows is another one that uses music very well, much like this.
But so then my favorite kill in the movie comes when Michael Myers puts a sheet over himself to look like a ghost and puts on the glasses of the boyfriend over the sheet. So he goes upstairs to the bedroom, and so she thinks it's her boyfriend.
Yeah.
And so he kills her.
Yeah, she calls Laurie for something. Like, because he stands there for a long time.
Yeah.
And she thinks he's joking around, so she calls Laurie, and as she's on the phone with Laurie, or right as Laurie picks up, he wraps the phone cord around her, and she's like, and like Laurie thinks she's having sex, so she's like, what?
Well, then she thinks something's wrong though, because the tone changes.
Yeah, and then the phone, like, I guess cuts off too.
Yeah. But, and she pulls the sheet off Michael while she's dying.
Yeah.
But it's so then Laurie goes to go investigate.
Yeah,
across the street. See what happened, and the first body she finds is the boyfriend, and he swings upside down through a door frame.
Yeah.
And then she finds she sees
her brown haired friend,
her friend
laying
first
on the bed because she's laying on the bed and there's the tombstone of Judith Myers above it. Don't really know why Michael did that, but whatever.
Yeah, then she finds the guy swinging. Then she finds the other girl in a closet, and then Michael appears.
Yeah, she stumbles out of the bedroom and she sort of collapses against the wall, and you see very slowly Michael's mask sort of slowly appear out of the shadows, which I think it was a great shot, as far as filming is concerned, and it's one of my favorite shots in the whole movie. And it's just so creepy. He creeps out and he grabs her, or no, he doesn't grab her. He creeps out and he tries to stab her,
yeah,
but he slices her arm, and she falls over the staircase and down below.
So she runs back across the street, gets the kids that she's put to sleep to wake up and get her in the house.
Yeah.
This part, the kids eventually are able to get out of the house and flee.
Yeah, and as they're running out screaming, that's when Dr. Loomis, who's been sort of canvassing the neighborhood just to look for Michael, he sees him run. He sees where they run out of, and he runs in there. And by that time, Michael had already been in the house, and he was already chasing after Jamie Lee Curtis. And
she stabbed him, right?
Yeah, like before, when she first gets in the house, she tells Tommy to run upstairs and lock the door or something like that. And so when she's down there, I think he gets through a window or somehow. It doesn't really show him come into the house. He just pops out from pops out from behind the couch, and he tries to stab her, but he misses. And she has a knitting needle, and she stabs him right in the neck with it, and he collapses. And that's when she goes upstairs and she tells. She's talking to Tommy and the girl. And all of a sudden, Michael appears, at the stairway, and they start screaming. So she locks them in a closet or something, and she goes into another closet. That's when he's hacking through the closet. She stabs him with a coat hanger in the eye or whatever. And he drops the knife. She grabs the knife and stabs him in the stomach. And that's when the kids run out. Then the kids run out. So that's when Dr. Loomis is.
Does she run out at this point?
No, Loomis runs in the house because that's where the kids come out from. So he assumes something's going on, and he runs up the stairs. And by this time, Jamie Lee Curtis is getting strangled by Michael, and as she's strangling her, she pulls his mask off, and that sort of distracts him long enough that he lets her go, and he grabs his mask and he puts it back on. And that's when Dr. Loomis shoots him. And he shoots him six times. Six times.
Michael Myers falls out the window.
And that's pretty much where the first one ends, because he goes to the ledge and he looks, and Michael's missing. And
for some reason, I thought it ended up in the Myers house, but I don't know why I was thinking that.
No,
it ends up there. Yeah.
Another funny thing about the first one, there's this little part. It's just a little bit of levity. I think it's in the first one, where these trick-or-treaters, little kids, are daring each other to go knock on the Myers house or something. Is this in the first one or the second one?
That's in the first one.
Okay. And
because it's the three kids that were picking on.
It was the three kids that were picking on
Tommy earlier.
And and Loomis is hiding behind a bush, and the kid goes up to the door, and he's like, "Hey, get away from there!" And they scream and run off. And it's really funny, but like I said, there's that little moment of levity in the
first
one.
And then Loomis smiles about it.
Yeah, he gets this really creepy smile, like. But that's one of my favorite parts in the movie. It's just really funny.
So so that's Halloween. Yeah. Now Halloween 2 picks up. Right, it shows the final scenes where Michael gets shot, falls out the window. Laurie gets taken to the hospital. I guess from the shock and from her wounds.
Yeah, because she has a fractured ankle, and obviously she has a big cut on her arm. So
she gets taken to the hospital, where she is going to be treated by a doctor who has been drunk and is coming off of his hangover.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Loomis almost shoots. There's a guy in the first movie Jamie Lee Curtis has a crush on.
Yeah.
And
Paul, I think. Paul something.
And she wants to go to the dance with him.
Oh, no, Ben Tramer. I'm sorry.
Ben
Tramer.
We hear his name, but we never see him in the first movie. In the second movie, we see him in a costume that looks just like what Michael Myers wears. Now, it's just a coincidence because at this point, nobody's seen Michael Myers before or to know what he wears.
Yeah.
He could have got the mask from the same place Michael stole his mask. But the fact that he was wearing coveralls like Michael is kind of just a bad deal for him. So Loomis almost shoots him.
Yeah, he's trying to shoot him, and the sheriff is like, "Wait a minute, you don't know who that is."
It may not be him. And then this police car comes out of nowhere and hits the kid. And I say kid, I mean he's a teenager. He's looking like a senior. Hits the kid, and the police car just keeps moving. It's like, like the car doesn't even slow down when he's pressing the brakes. Slams into this back of his van or something, and then the fire burns the kid alive to death. He's dead.
Yeah, and like it was like now the kid was running. They told him to stop, and he kept running.
Yeah, he was in the middle of the road, but still, that officer could have seen him in time to stop.
He pops out of his car. Funny. He's like, "Oh, he came out of nowhere." It's like he was in that road a good 10, 15 seconds before he got hit.
Michael, meanwhile, he goes into this old lady's house, and she's talking to her husband. She's made a sandwich for her husband, and he gets the knife that she was cutting the stuff for the sandwich with, while her back's turned. He doesn't kill them though. He leaves the house.
Yeah.
But he has blood his own blood that's dripped off of him onto her sandwich that she notices, and she screams.
Yeah, she screams.
There's this young girl nearby in a house, and Michael kills her.
Yeah. He's just kind of passing by a house. Yeah, and
passing by, and why not?
Yeah.
He kills her with the knife.
Yeah. What the heck? Yeah.
Then he hears about the fact that Jamie Lee Curtis has been taken to the hospital on the radio somebody has in the street. Yeah. And so that's how he knows where to go.
So he just walks to the hospital.
And one of the I forgot about this till we watched this. I mean, I've seen both of these movies before, but one of the guys in the movie in Halloween 2 is Lance Guest.
Yeah.
From and he's in The Last Starfighter, which I love, but he's in this movie, and I think in that we watched this behind the scenes thing. I think he said this was his first feature film he was in.
Yeah, I think so.
And he was theatrically trained as an actor, so. But he seems to be taking good care of Laurie.
Yeah.
He
Well, apparently, his character's younger brother goes to school with Laurie, so it's the other paramedics like this creeper dude, and making jokes and all this other stuff, and Lance Guest was like, she goes to school with my younger brother. This could have been, this stuff
could have been anybody.
Could have been anybody, so you shouldn't be making jokes like that. And yeah, the other paramedic, he's a sleazy guy, so.
But yeah, the rest of the movie, most of the movie takes place in the hospital, which I actually like a lot.
It's a good setting, I think, and it's very they do a good job at making everything very creepy.
The doctor gets killed off camera, but we see that he got stabbed through the eye with a needle. We see one of the nurses get stabbed right in the temple at the eye with a needle by Michael Myers. He, the sleazy guy, and he strangles to death.
Strangles him.
While he's with one of the nurses in the therapeutic hot tub.
Yeah.
And Michael Myers turns the heat up on that tub, and he douses her face in it until it's to kill her.
Yeah.
Dumps her under the water a few times.
Yeah.
And she dies.
Boils her to death. Makes her face look like pork rinds or something.
Trying to think. The other nurse dies. Michael stabs her right in the spine.
Yeah, he lifts her up.
Lifts her up lifts her up with just the little knife he's holding, which is kind of small.
Those surgical scalpels are sturdy little utensils, I tell you.
But it is kind of funny that as soon as she dies, her shoes fall off her feet.
And they make this clunking noise. It's like...
So that was kind of a little funny moment they added in there with it. But Laurie, meanwhile, has gotten out of a room and is trying to escape.
Yeah, and she's kind of sedated, and which makes it worse for her when Michael's pursuing her all over this hospital because, like I said, she's injured and she's doped up, so she's not really in a clear frame of mind.
In The Last Starfighter, he finds one of the nurses that's dead with an IV drip that was put in her arm.
Yeah, and it's drained all her
just drained all her blood in a pool, and then when he's going to walk out of the room, he slips on the blood and falls.
Yeah.
It doesn't kill him, but Laurie gets out of the hospital and Michael's chasing her. Yeah, she gets out and she hides in a car.
Yeah.
All the cars have had their tires cut.
Yeah, they're all... all the tires have been cut. Like every car in the parking lot. Which there wasn't a lot of cars, but still, he did it like 5 or 6 cars.
And he cut the
fuel line.
fuel lines on them all.
Yeah, he was thorough. I'll give him that.
But he gets a lot more. He's a lot more creative with his deaths in this one, and it really, like how he knows to do that to the cars and everything. It's when he's been institutionalized so long. It's kind of, not realistic that he would necessarily know to do all this, but it's fine. She hides in this car, and it coincidentally happens to belong to the last Starfighter because he gets out of the hospital and gets in the car.
Yeah.
And he tries to crank it up, and he says they're going to be okay, and then he collapses onto the horn.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, she pulls him off the horn to stop making the noise, and Loomis pulls up to the hospital, and the reason they've come to the hospital is because the smoking nurse that's with him, who was in the first movie, has revealed to him that Laurie is Michael's younger sister, so he knows that he's going to go after Laurie.
And a cop is escorting them out of town, I guess because the sheriff wants them gone or whatever.
Yeah.
So he's escorting them out of town, and Loomis says, we got to go to the hospital. The cop is like, no, I'm not going to do it. And he's like, Loomis is packing heat. So he whips out his six-shooter. He's like, oh, what do you do? Fire a warning shot? And he shoots out the window while they're driving. And then the cop turns the car around and goes to... Anyways, they get to the hospital. So it's Loomis, the nurse, and the cop.
They go inside, and Laurie sees them and crawls out of the car and tries to yell for help, but she is very weak.
Yeah.
She finally gets the yell out after they get inside.
Yeah.
And she gets to her feet, and Michael's outside with her, and she runs and gets to the door. She's banging on the door. Loomis hears it, gets her inside, shuts the door and locks it, and Michael just walks through the glass door.
Yeah, he walks in like a boss, clean through that glass pane like it was nothing.
Yeah. So Loomis shoots him, and he goes down, but Loomis knows that
Loomis
he did that before.
Yeah, he's done that before. Ain't no thing. Ain't nothing new. So the cop who looks like oh no, that was the other.
There was
cop.
a security guard too at the
guard.
hospital. I forgot about him. He got killed by Michael, or he was the first one at the hospital that got killed.
He looked like that guy from Last Man on Earth.
Yeah.
So, but I was thinking about him. But anyways, this new cop who was with him at this point, he goes up to Michael and he's like telling Dr. Loomis, "Oh, he's dead, he's dead." And Loomis is like, "No, he's not." And about that time, Michael pops up and grabs the cop and slits his throat. So
yeah. Loomis and where'd the nurse go at this point?
She went outside to radio for help.
That's right. She passed Michael.
She passed Michael. She went outside to radio the rest of the cops to let them know what was going on.
So Michael chases Loomis and Laurie into a room, and Loomis gives Laurie a gun.
Yeah.
And he has a gun himself, but he's out of bullets.
Yeah, he doesn't know that until he tries to shoot Michael again, and Michael sticks him in the stomach with the scalpel, and Loomis kind of collapses to the side. But
Laurie grabs the gun and she shoots 2 perfect shots and shoots out Michael's eyes.
Yeah, both eyes, 2 shots, and
then Michael starts swinging wildly with a scalpel. Loomis starts letting all these different gases out.
Yeah, laughing gas, oxygen, ether, all sorts of stuff. And
Laurie helps him.
So he tells Laurie to get out. Laurie runs out of the operating room, and Loomis was like, I can't remember what he said. Something like, "This is it," or it's time to, And he
lights up his lighter.
Blows the whole room to smithereens.
Michael walks out, but he's in flames, and he falls and collapses, and he dies.
Yeah.
He is intended to die here.
As far as John Carpenter is concerned, and Deborah Hill is concerned, Michael Myers dies right here.
So Laurie's fine. She gets taken in an ambulance away. We actually found out there's a deleted scene where the last Starfighter guy's in the ambulance with her, and he sits up, and she didn't realize he was there and alive. But he's still alive.
And I think, canon-wise, he's still supposed to be alive, because I remember when I was a kid thinking to myself, oh, he collapsed on the steering wheel and he's dead, But, his last name is Lloyd, and it's implied that he's the father of Jamie Lee Curtis's future daughter from Halloween 4 and 5, Jamie. And, because her name's Jamie Lloyd. And so it's implied that he survived, which it's feasible because he's probably concussed is what happened.
He was supposed to survive.
He was supposed to survive. So it's understood that Jamie Lloyd is the daughter of Laurie Strode and the guy
Somebody cut
Jerry
it.
Lloyd. Yeah.
Even the director, he didn't know it was cut.
Yeah.
Until he saw the movie.
Yeah, that's right.
And
he doesn't know who cut it, but
he said there were too many cooks, and
yeah.
so somebody cut that from the movie. But but that's pretty much the end of the movie.
Yeah, she gets taken away, and you the movie closes with Michael just getting burned, like his mask just pouring flames out of it. But that's the movies, and excellent movies, I think.
They really go well to watch back to back because, like I said, one movie goes right into the other one. The same Halloween.
Yeah, it's supposed to take place the same night.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's if I had to rate these movies, obviously I'd give Halloween a 5-star rating. I would say Halloween 2 would be 4. Simply because I mean there's a little difference between them. Like the first movie, it's a slasher movie, but it's much more tame. It's more of what you don't see. It's not really gory. You know, it's body count's not particularly high. Second one, higher body count, gorier deaths, and
Still not a really high body count, but
yeah, I mean,
it's higher.
especially by today's standards.
It's higher by a few, but
yeah. But the first movie is more about what you don't see. It lets you use your imagination a little bit more. I also think the first one does a better job at building suspense through the use of music as well as other camera angles. Second one has great suspenseful moments and great use of music too, but I think the first one just does it a little bit better.
I give both of them 4 out of 5 stars. I love both of them. I think that together they complement each other really well as one complete story. I think the second movie really does a good job of completing the story. Because he does survive in the first one.
Yeah.
So that we know what happens to Michael. And it gives us a little more story about Laurie to know why Michael's after her. And so I really appreciate those parts of it. But that's my rating. If you're into horror movies or slasher movies and you've never seen these, I recommend you see them.
Yeah.
If you don't like this type of horror movie, then don't really watch it. But if you're interested, give it a shot. They are I think they're good movies, and they're filmed well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you love horror movies or slasher films, you need to own these movies. And I just like I guess some people out there don't like horror movies. It's just I love the first one so much. It's just so I just love it so much. It's like I can't imagine anybody watching it and not liking it.
Yeah, the first one's really good. It's got a lot of suspense. It's got a lot of even the deaths are not like very gory. They're definitely more in the older style of horror movie, whereas the second one's more of the beginning of a newer style.
Well, we're watching
trying to keep up with the newer style that was starting to come out at the time.
Yeah, that's what we were saw in the extra features on one of them. Is that John Carpenter and Deborah Hill kind of felt boxed in because so many movies had come out in between these two that sort of up the body count, up the gore. You know, they felt they had to sort of keep up with them, or like because people would go to the theater expecting to see something, and if they didn't see it, they wouldn't like it. You know? But but yeah, like I said, I'd say 5 for me, 4 for this one,
4 for both for me, and but we recommend them, and
you gotta check them out. They're great movies.
Hopefully this is up Halloween, like earlier in the day.
Yeah, hopefully it's earlier in the day. So
that I hope when I say this, I hope you all have a great Halloween. Enjoy it. I know you'll all get an extra hour too.
That's true.
So
how often does that happen? The extra hour has Halloween.
So have a happy Halloween. Enjoy your extra hour, and thanks for joining us on Part Time. And we don't have special videos for next month. They'll just be regular movies.
Yeah.
But in December we'll be doing just Christmas movies. So
that's true. So it will ring in the holidays really well. And hopefully we put out enough horror movies to whet y'all's appetite for horror films.
All right. Well, thank you so much, and stay tuned.
Look out, slow down.
What?
Over there, look.
Is that him?
I don't know. Get back! Run! Go on, run!
Move it!
Get back! Get back, you kid! Run!
Move it!
Stop! Get out of here!
Move it!
Stop! Stop!
Shoot!
Stop! Move!
Sure cracking.